The courtroom was tense, filled with the murmurs of restless spectators waiting for the judge to take the bench. In the front row, a young black woman sat quietly, her hands folded in her lap. Her name was Aisha, a law student who had come to support her brother, who was wrongfully accused of a crime he didn't commit. She knew the system was against them, but she still believed in justice. Across the room, Officer Grant leaned back in his chair, gripping a steaming cup of coffee. His uniform was crisp, his expression unreadable. He had been on the force for years, and, to him, this was just another case, just another day. But there was something about Aisha's calm confidence that got under his skin. Maybe it was the way she didn't cower. Maybe it was the way she looked straight into his eyes without fear. The tension in the room thickened as the judge entered. The bailiff called the court to order, and the hearing began. Aisha listened intently, her heart pounding as the defense lawyer spoke in her brother's favor. But then, out of nowhere, Officer Grant scoffed loudly. People turned, confused. Aisha frowned, unsure of what he found so amusing. And then, in a moment no one saw coming, the officer stood up. Maybe it was frustration. Maybe it was something deeper, something darker. But before anyone could react, he lifted his cup and, with a smug smirk, threw the scalding hot coffee straight into Aisha's face. Gasps echoed through the courtroom. Someone screamed. Aisha clutched her face, pain searing through her skin. Tears welled in her eyes, not just from the burn but from the sheer humiliation of it all. The officer smirked, as if he had just put her in her place. For a brief moment, it seemed like he had won. But fate had other plans. Because just 9 minutes later, karma came knocking. Meanwhile, across town, a teenage boy named Malik was on the bus, lost in thought. He had no idea that his small act of kindness would change everything. As he looked up, he saw a pregnant woman struggling to stand, her face weary from the long day. Without hesitation, he stood and offered his seat. She smiled, grateful, and sat down with a sigh of relief. But what happened next was something Malik never expected. The woman reached into her purse, pulled out a small folded note, and handed it to him. "You just made my day," she whispered, pressing it into his palm. Curious, Malik unfolded the paper, and what he read left him completely speechless. Malik's fingers tightened around a small piece of paper as he stared at the words scribbled inside. His heart pounded in his chest. The handwriting was neat but hurried, as if the woman had written it with urgency. His eyes darted to her, but she was already looking out the window, lost in thought. His mind raced. What could the note mean? He thought back to what had just happened, a simple act of kindness. It wasn't a big deal to him. His mother always taught him to respect others, especially elders and pregnant women. "You never know what someone else is going through," she would say. But this felt different. The bus came to a stop, and the woman shifted in her seat. She glanced at Malik one last time, giving him a knowing smile before stepping off. The doors hissed shut behind her, and just like that, she was gone. Malik looked at the note again. The words were short, but they carried weight. "Meet me at the corner of 5th and Maple at 6 p.m. Don't tell anyone." A chill ran down his spine. He checked the time on his phone, 4:52 p.m. Less than an hour. His first thought was to ignore it. He didn't know this woman, and something about the message felt strange. But then, a deeper curiosity took over. What if this was important? What if she needed help? Across town, in the courthouse, Aisha sat frozen, still in shock from what had just happened. Her skin burned where the coffee had splashed, but the pain wasn't just physical. The humiliation of it all, the way Officer Grant smirked, the way no one had stepped in to stop him, cut deeper than anything. She could hear the murmurs around her. Some people gasped, some whispered, and some just sat in stunned silence. But what hurt the most was the judge's reaction. Or rather, the lack of one. "All right, let's keep order in the court," the judge said flatly, barely looking up from his papers. As if Aisha's suffering didn't matter. As if this was normal. Her brother, Jamal, clenched his fists beside her. "That's it?" he hissed under his breath. "He just gets to do that and walk away?" Aisha swallowed hard, trying to keep her emotions in check. "Not for long," she whispered, her voice steady despite the fire burning inside her. She knew she had to be smart. Reacting in anger would only give people like Officer Grant what they wanted, a reason to paint her as the problem. No, she had to be patient. Because deep down, She believed in something stronger than revenge. She believed in karma. And karma was already working. Back on the bus, Malik couldn't shake the feeling that he had just stepped into something bigger than himself. He thought about calling his mom, but what would he even say? "Hey, Mom. Some random lady gave me a secret note and told me to meet her in an hour." Yeah, that would go over well. He debated ignoring it, but something deep inside told him not to. So when a stop came, he took a deep breath and got off, his heart racing as he made his way toward the corner of 5th and Maple. The sun was starting to set, casting a golden glow over the city. The streets were busy, but the spot she mentioned was quieter, tucked away between an old bookstore and a small coffee shop. Malik leaned against a lamppost, scanning the area. Minutes passed. Then more. He started to wonder if this was some kind of joke. Maybe she wasn't coming. Maybe he had imagined the whole thing. But then, just as he was about to leave, he saw her. The woman from the bus. She walked toward him with purpose, her expression serious. When she reached him, she didn't waste time with small talk. Instead, she handed him another note. This time, a folded envelope. "You don't know me," she said quietly. "But I know someone who knows you." Malik frowned. "What do you mean?" She glanced around as if making sure no one was listening. "Just open it when you're alone. And whatever you do, don't ignore it." Before he could ask anything else, she turned and walked away, disappearing into the crowd. Malik stood there, staring at the envelope in his hand. His fingers trembled as he slowly opened it. Inside was a single piece of paper. But this time, it wasn't a note. It was a name. A name he hadn't heard in a long time. And suddenly, everything felt different. This wasn't just some random act of kindness. This was personal. And he had no idea what he had just gotten himself into. Meanwhile, in the courthouse, Officer Grant felt a sudden, sharp pain in his stomach. He winced, gripping the edge of the desk in front of him. His vision blurred for a moment. Was it the coffee he drank earlier? No, this felt different. He tried to shake it off, but the pain only intensified. For the first time that day, the smug expression on his face disappeared. And Aisha, sitting just a few feet away, noticed. She didn't say anything. She didn't smirk the way he had. She simply watched, calm and patient. Because deep down she knew karma always had perfect timing. And it wasn't done yet. Malik's breath hitched as he read the name written on the paper. It wasn't just any name. It was someone from his past. Someone he hadn't thought about in years. His fingers tightened around the note as his mind raced. Why would this woman, this complete stranger, know about him? And why now? The street around him bustled with people, but suddenly, everything felt distant, like the world had dimmed around the edges. He looked up, hoping to spot the woman again, but she was gone. Just like that. His heart pounded in his chest. He wanted to crumple the note, shove it in his pocket, pretend it didn't matter. But he couldn't, because deep down, something told him this wasn't a coincidence. Across town, Aisha sat in the courthouse, watching as Officer Grant's face slowly lost color. His hand gripped his stomach, his jaw clenched tight. He looked uneasy. The same arrogance he had worn just moments ago had vanished, replaced with something else. Was it pain? Worry? Or maybe fear? Aisha didn't move. She didn't speak. She just watched. She had spent years studying the law, believing in the system, hoping that justice was more than just a word. But today, sitting in this courtroom, she felt the weight of reality pressing down on her. The law didn't always protect the right people. It didn't always punish the wrong ones. Sometimes, justice came in unexpected ways. And today, she had a feeling karma was handling things on its own. Officer Grant wiped his brow, trying to shake whatever was happening to him. He shifted in his chair, forcing himself to sit up straight, but the discomfort in his expression was obvious. The judge continued speaking, oblivious to the silent war happening inside the officer's body. But Aisha saw it. And she wasn't the only one. Her brother, Jamal, leaned in slightly. "You see that?" he whispered. Aisha nodded, keeping her voice low. "Yeah." Jamal smirked just a little. "Feels like the universe is finally paying attention." For the first time that day, Aisha allowed herself a small smile. She didn't believe in revenge, but she did believe in balance. And right now, the scales were shifting. Back on the streets, Malik took a shaky breath and started walking. He didn't know where he was going, but his feet carried him forward anyway. His mind kept replaying the moment on the bus, the woman's calm expression, the way she had handed him the note with so much certainty. He glanced at the paper again. The name stared back at him, bold and unforgiving. There was only one person who could make sense of this: his mother. Malik turned the corner and picked up his pace, heading toward home. The apartment complex wasn't far, just a few blocks away. His mom had always been the one with answers, the one who knew things without ever being told. If anyone could help him understand why this stranger knew his past, it was her. But as he reached his building, a strange feeling settled in his chest. Something wasn't right. The door to their unit was slightly open. Not wide enough to seem obvious, but just enough to be off. Malik's stomach tightened. He hesitated for a second before stepping inside. "Mom." His voice was cautious. No answer. The apartment was quiet. Too quiet. His mom always had the TV on even if she wasn't watching it. But now, there was only silence. Malik took another step forward, his heart hammering. The living room looked normal. Nothing was out of place. But the feeling in his gut told him otherwise. Then he heard it. A soft shuffle, like someone moving just out of sight. Malik's pulse spiked. He turned toward the hallway, his body tensed. "Who's there?" For a long moment there was nothing. Then, a shadow moved. Before Malik could react, a voice, low and familiar, broke the silence. "You shouldn't have come here." Malik's breath caught. He knew that voice. And suddenly, everything felt much, much worse. Back in the courthouse, Officer Grant gritted his teeth as another wave of discomfort rolled through him. His vision blurred slightly, and for the first time, he felt something unfamiliar creeping in. Was it guilt? Regret? Or was it simply the weight of all the wrongs he had ignored catching up with him? Aisha and Jamal exchanged another glance. They didn't know what was happening to the officer, but one thing was clear: this was just the beginning. Because karma wasn't done yet. And neither were they. Malik's breath was shallow as he stared into the dimly lit hallway. The voice that had spoken sent a chill down his spine, not because it was unfamiliar, but because he hadn't heard it in years. Slowly, a figure stepped into view. His uncle. The man he hadn't seen since he was a little boy. The man his mother never talked about. The man who had disappeared from their lives without explanation. Malik took a step back. His uncle, Darnell, looked older, rougher, like life had taken its toll on him. His eyes were tired, but there was something else in them, something unreadable. Malik swallowed hard. "What are you doing here?" Darnell sighed and glanced toward the door, as if making sure no one else was coming. "You got the note, didn't you?" Malik clenched his jaw. "That was from you?" Darnell shook his head. "No. But I knew you'd get it. I knew it would lead you here." Malik's mind raced. Who was that woman on the bus? How does she know me? Darnell hesitated, rubbing a hand over his face. "She's someone who's been watching out for you. Watching out for your mom. And now she's making sure you know the truth." Malik's stomach twisted. The truth about what? Darnell sighed again, this time heavier, like he was carrying something too big to hold onto anymore. "About your father." Malik froze. His father. The man he had never met. The man his mother refused to talk about. The man who was nothing more than an empty space in his life. Malik's hands curled into fists. "What about him?" Darnell's expression darkened. "He didn't leave, Malik. He didn't abandon you. He was taken." Malik's heart pounded in his chest. "Taken?" Darnell nodded. "And the people who took him, they don't want you to know the truth." Malik's head spun. It didn't make sense. His whole life, he had believed his father just walked away. That was what his mother always let him think. But now, standing here, staring at the uncle he hadn't seen in years, he realized there was something much bigger at play. Before he could ask anything else, the front door creaked open. Malik turned sharply, expecting to see his mother, but instead, his blood ran cold. Two men stepped inside. Men in dark suits. Men who didn't belong here. Darnell's entire body tensed. "Run," he whispered. Malik didn't have time to think. Back at the courthouse, Officer Grant's discomfort had escalated. He shifted in his seat, trying to shake the unease crawling through him, but it was useless. His skin felt clammy, his throat dry. Something was wrong. He tried to focus on the judge's words, but everything sounded distant, like he was underwater. He looked down at his hands, at the coffee cup still sitting on the table in front of him. For the first time, doubt crept in. Had someone done something to his drink? Aisha watched him carefully. She could see the shift happening, the confidence fading, the cracks forming. Jamal leaned in. He doesn't look so good. Aisha didn't respond. She just kept watching. Because whatever was happening to Officer Grant, it was far from over. And justice wasn't finished yet. Malik's pulse roared in his ears as Darnell grabbed his arm and yanked him backward. The two men in suits didn't say a word. They didn't have to. Their presence alone was enough to make the air in the room feel suffocating. Darnell's grip tightened. I said run. Malik hesitated for only a second before his body took over. He turned and sprinted down the hallway, his heartbeat drowning out everything else. He didn't know where he was going. All he knew was that he had to get out. Behind him, he heard the shuffle of movement. A grunt. A crash. Darnell was fighting them. Malik's chest burned as he reached the back door, shoving it open and bursting into the alleyway. The cold air hit him like a slap, but he didn't stop. He had to keep moving. Had to get away before those men caught up to him. But just as he turned the corner, a black car screeched to a stop in front of him. The back door flew open, and there, sitting in the back seat, was the woman from the bus.
Get in, she said.
Malik's body froze, torn between fear and instinct. Every warning his mother had ever given him about strangers screamed in his head. But then he heard another crash from inside his building. Darnell. He had no choice. He dove into the car, and the woman slammed the door shut just as the tires screeched against the pavement. Malik's chest heaved as he turned to her.
Who are you?
What's going on? She kept her eyes on the road.
I told you, she said.
I know someone who knows you. And right now, if you want to stay alive, you need to trust me. Malik swallowed hard. Nothing made sense. His uncle, the note, the men in suits, none of it. And now he was in a car with a stranger who somehow knew his past better than he did. His fingers curled around the crumpled note in his pocket. Who took my father? The woman's grip on the steering wheel tightened. For the first time, he saw hesitation in her eyes. There's something you need to understand, Malik, she said. This isn't just about your father. It's about you. Back at the courthouse, Officer Grant gripped the table in front of him. His vision swam, his chest tightening with something he couldn't explain. He had felt untouchable for so long, so certain that nothing could shake him. But now, as he tried to steady himself, a sickening realization crept into his mind. Something was happening to him. He looked around the courtroom, his gaze locking onto Aisha. She was staring straight at him. There was no gloating in her expression. No malice. Just quiet, unwavering certainty. And in that moment, Officer Grant knew this wasn't a coincidence. Aisha didn't move, didn't speak. But deep down, she knew he was finally feeling it. The weight of his actions. The weight of everything he had done and gotten away with. And this was only the beginning. Because karma wasn't just knocking on his door. It was kicking it down. Malik's legs burned as he ran, his breath ragged. The alley opened onto a quiet street, but he didn't stop. He couldn't. The weight of everything, the files, the warning, the woman's cryptic words, pressed down on him like an avalanche. He had spent his whole life wondering about his father, never expecting that searching for the truth would put him in danger. He turned a corner and slowed, glancing over his shoulder. No black SUVs. No signs of pursuit. For now, he was alone. But he knew it wouldn't last. His phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. He hesitated, then answered. Hello. A deep breath on the other end. Then, Malik. His mother. His stomach tightened. She never called during the day, especially not from an unknown number. He swallowed. Mom, where are you? Her voice was urgent, shaking. Are you safe? He wanted to tell her everything. About the note, the woman, the men in suits. But before he could speak, she whispered something that sent chills down his spine. They came to the house. Malik gripped the phone. Who? A pause. I don't know. But they were asking about you. About your father. She inhaled sharply. Malik, listen to me. I need you to come home.
Now.
His pulse pounded in his ears. He had spent years thinking his mother was just being overprotective, refusing to talk about his father because it hurt too much. But now he realized she had been keeping secrets too, and he needed to know why. Malik found a bus stop and hopped onto the first bus heading toward his neighborhood. He kept his hood up, watching the streets roll by. His mind replayed the events of the last few hours, searching for answers. His father had been taken.
But why?
What did he know? And why was Malik suddenly in danger now? When he finally reached his block, he hesitated at the corner. His house was in sight. The front door was closed. The curtains drawn. Everything looked normal, but his gut told him it wasn't. He took a deep breath and stepped forward. Inside, his mother stood in the living room, arms crossed, her expression tight with worry. "Malik," she whispered, relief washing over her face. She pulled him into a tight hug, holding him longer than usual. Malik pulled back. "Mom, what's going on?" She glanced toward the window before lowering her voice. "We don't have much time." She led him to the kitchen table, where an old, worn-out envelope sat. Malik's eyes narrowed. His mother slid it toward him. "Your father wrote this before he disappeared." His hands trembled as he opened it. The letter inside was faded, the ink slightly smudged, but the words were clear. "Malik, if you're reading this, it means the truth has finally found its way to you. I never left. I was taken. Because I knew something they didn't want me to know. And now you might be in danger, too. If they come for you, don't trust anyone. Not even those who say they're trying to help. Find the answers. And if you can, find me." Malik's breath hitched. He looked up at his mother, his chest tight. "Why didn't you ever tell me?" Tears welled in her eyes. "I was trying to protect you." The weight of it all pressed down on him. His whole life had been built on a lie. But now he had the truth, or at least part of it. His father was still out there. And someone didn't want him to find out why. The sound of a car engine outside made them both freeze. Malik's mother rushed to the window, peeking out. A black SUV. His heart slammed against his ribs. They had found him. His mother turned to him, her voice urgent.
"Go. Now."
Malik shook his head. "I'm not leaving you." Her hands gripped his shoulders. "You have to. You have the letter. You have the truth. Don't let them take that from you." Tires screeched outside. Doors opened. Malik's mother pressed a folded bill into his hand. "Go out the back. Take the bus. Disappear."
His throat tightened.
He didn't want to leave her, not after everything. But he knew she was right. A sharp knock at the door made his decision for him.
He ran.
Through the kitchen, out the back door, down the alley. His feet pounded against the pavement, but he didn't stop. Not until he was far away. Not until he was safe. The bus doors hissed shut behind him as he took a seat at the back. He clutched the letter in his lap, staring at the words over and over again. His father was out there. Somewhere. And now, Malik had to find him. But he wouldn't be running forever. One day, he'd come back. One day, he'd uncover the full truth. And when he did, the people who had taken everything from him would finally have to answer for it.